Bruj reviews. Looks like we're bringing back this segment too. So you probably noticed I missed a post last week, but I got a pretty good excuse. Still, I feel like I owe some kind of filler material for the gap. So here it is. Bruj reviews. This old bit, which may or may not happen occasionally, depending on if it gets views or not. Review number 1. At risk of maybe becoming that guy that just talks shit about my own community, I can't believe I got clickbaited into watching this.
My favorite deck is easily the Thoth deck.
Oh my god, are you telling me that the Thelema girl's favorite tarot deck is the Thoth deck? Wow. Shocker. Man, I would have accepted a bait and switch so much better. Something like, as you know, I'm a Thelemite and we talk about Thelema and OTO on this channel, but I just wanted to share with you my favorite tarot deck, which is the one I just made for myself and is available to purchase now at blank.com. You thought I was going to say the Thoth deck. I mean, come on, seriously? The Thoth deck is like the most basic answer a Thelemite could give. There's no insight here. And you know what? On this cooking show, we don't make hot cakes. We make hot takes. And I've got one for you right now. Thoth deck, it's ugly. You know what? The art is cool and everything. I like the symbolism. I like the color treatment. I bet the real paintings are awesome. But when scaled down to card size, it's too busy. And it looks kind of messy. And the art on the small cards, the numbered cards, it's not really as expressive as the scenes that depict action on the weight deck. But the part that is cool about the Thoth deck is the symbolism being baked into the images, which also, isn't actually consistently there in all the cards. Some cards are missing their symbols. Some cards have one symbol when they should have two. But does she mention the 777 part? Does she mention the Book of Thoth? That's what we really don't like the Thoth deck. We really like the Book of Thoth and the 777. Does she mention the whole table of correspondences and the whole GDOTO magical symbolic language of symbols that gives us a cohesive system of elemental magic based on astrology, Kabbalah, and tarot? I mean, okay, she kind of does, but not specifically.
It includes some key things that make it extremely valuable for magical practitioners. First and foremost, it incorporates a lot of symbols and knowledge, esoteric and magical. It also incorporates scientific facts and knowledge. There's a periodic table of elements or version of it in the Thoth deck, but I think the Thoth deck has a very unique energy.
I'ma say it. The weight deck is better. It's more standardized. More people are familiar with its images, which also read much better at card size. And the numbered cards are more expressive, the scenes being a better mnemonic device for the card meaning than some random pattern arrangement of wands or swords. It's more applicable when giving a reading to a more common person. The Thoth deck is great, and I love the Thoth deck. But what it's good for is path working and initiation. Doing readings for yourself with the opening of the keys spread to delve deep into your psyche and talk to the machine elves. It's good for use as flashcards when learning the system of magic presented by GDOTO, which is given in the tables of 777 and the Book of Thoth. A really good deck would give me the tarot weight images, but the small cards would have the words like they have at the bottom of the Thoth cards, because I find that to be helpful. And yet, I could Photoshop that together, except because Crowley hated weight, he kind of did a bunch of trolly things with his redesign of GD's system, and the two decks just will not fuck, because they're only 92% the same. And deciding which symbolism to adopt in the combined deck would kind of be a bunch of messy compromises. So it would just be better to study both decks, make your own deck, and it would be so much work anyway already to just cut and paste all that even though all the images are either public domain already or at least very close to being public domain, it would still be so much work that you might as well make new art or at least augment the existing art heavily. So I'm trying to wind it back because I'm not really talking shit about the Thoth deck. I just think it's lame that the Crowley girl said her favorite deck is the Crowley deck. I think she might say something that was a revelation. You know, I thought she might say something that was a revelation. Or maybe a new tarot deck came out that was better for learning the system or something. Review number 2. Okay. So the reason I missed the show is because my friend called. He needed some emotional support, and he lives pretty far away. I've known this guy since high school, and we hung out. We had a good time. We just played some video games together, like the old days in 1998. Which brings me to my serious review. Pirate, Yakuza, Dragon Goes Hawaii or whatever. Game of the Year 2025. I am not a gamer. It doesn't matter what real gamers think. If you don't agree with me, the reason is because you literally have no friends. Now, I could see why normal gamers wouldn't like it. The game keeps interrupting you to do fucking mini games and side missions that take forever and hold up the main story plot. But in that old school way of playing a video game with a friend in 1998, where you had to trade off the controller anytime you died on the couch, taking turns playing a single-player game together. Multi-single-player co-op. And honestly, the mini games were actually great for setting those chapter breaks of handing off the controller to the other guy to take turns. You play the poker tournament because you are actually good at playing poker. I'll play the billiards tournament because I'm actually okay at that. We'll skip the shogi because neither one of us knows how to play. And you know what? All those mini games were really well done. I mean, people will play video game pool. So why not play the video game pool in Yakuza because it's badass? Also, in the arcade, I think they were emulating real Sega arcade boards. And those old games are really great, really fun. We spent hours playing Virtua Fighter, and the music for Fighting Vipers 2 is really, really good. At times, I would forget there was a game outside of the game that we were playing in the game. Which brings me to another hot take. I've been reading all the anger at Nintendo for their announcements about the Switch 2 and its games being too expensive. And I think, after playing this amazing Sega game, if Sega were to pick up where they left off when they dropped out of the console wars and release a PlayStation 3 gen console at a low price point to compete with Switch 2, it would sell like crazy. People would buy it just to spite Nintendo. And it sounds like a cool, edgelordy move like Sega would have had the attitude to do back in the old days. And I know you're like, PS3 gen? That's too old. But as a million indie games have taught us, if it's fun, we don't care what it looks like. I mean, Nintendo has done that for years. We don't have to have the newest, greatest graphics. You know, one of the biggest games of all time is Minecraft, and it looks like shit. Sega, get on this. Somebody get me Shuji Utsumi on the phone. Anyway, the actual game of the year is Enna Dream Barbecue, but I'll forgive you for not being Alejandro Jodorowsky enough for that, and I'll get you off with a pedestrian David Lynch answer and say Pirate Yakuza Game of the Year 2025. Doesn't matter what you say. Sega, release a new console now. So now I talked about knives for one episode and video games for another episode, neither of which are my alleged area of expertise. I'll go back to doing some regular magic stuff now, hopefully.